Hello, I am James. I am an intern here at Hattie, and in this interview we had on Miss Donna from Hattie. On our website, she teaches the responsive reading and comprehension class and has two master's degrees in education and technology. Hattie teaches hundreds of classes in many different subjects and is primarily based in the USA. All classes on Hattie are personalized to the teacher's own curriculum with high levels of engagement from the students.
All
So my
right.
first question for you is how is your teaching experience in an online format and how did it affect your teaching style? How did it change?
How did it change? Well, I'm very fortunate because I taught in the classroom for 25 years. So I was in the classroom, but at the same time, I always had the opportunity to do other things because of my degrees. So I also worked online for universities because of my degrees and did some part time contract work for them. So I've been online for 22 years probably
Wow.
doing education. And so it's just like eating to me.
So you didn't
I'm
have
used to
that
it.
hard of a, it wasn't that bad for you to just, switch on to Zoom. This is how it is now, or did you
Oh, not at all, not at all.
what did
Mm-mm.
you find to be more difficult about it?
The only thing I found difficult is I'm partly a perfectionist for myself. And if the Wi Fi is not good, if I'm having trouble with the streaming, the reverb is not good. I have a difficult time, maintaining my let's keep going because I want to make sure
Yeah.
it's receptive on both sides for
Yeah, you
everyone.
kind of want to make sure that everyone stays engaged. I think one of the things that was definitely very hard with going on Zoom is some
Mm-hmm.
kids, it's so easy. It's like, I'm sure you've had this, but like
Mm-hmm.
some kids will point their camera just at the ceiling or something. That was a popular thing to do. You'd see that all the
Yeah,
time.
you see a bright light from
And you're
the
like, oh yeah,
ceiling.
all right, so we're really engaged here, huh?
Yeah.
All right. I guess I should take you to the other side of that question. What do you think has been easier with Zoom? If anything,
what
obviously.
what has been easy? I think Zoom is very user friendly. I've used other platforms, and to me, it is a really user friendly one. So I feel like I think if you use it as a platform, there's a good flow. It is 99%. I never have problems with it. Never.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, with the online format, would you recommend it to all the kids? Like, if you had the choice between an online and an in-person format, in what situation would you recommend, online or in person?
Mm. Well, it does depend on the student sometimes. If the student has some focus problems, sometimes parents will be like, I just don't think they can do Zoom. I don't think they can be on here and learn. These are some of my USA students in which I've tutored. But I just really feel if you've got a good curriculum and you've got a teacher that says, I don't care where I'm teaching. I can teach you. And if you're with me, believe me, we can fly.
You can just adapt to the situation and just get it done.
I think you can. One thing that has to be done that I found is if it's just, the 4 to 8, we're okay. I
Mm-hmm.
can manage them. I really can. I've been a teacher forever, it seems like. And I also taught at the college. I taught in the education department. I was lead faculty chair. So I taught teachers how to be teachers. And that's one thing we have to do is if it's on screen and I've got these students right here, so many students, up to about 8, I can handle it. But if you've got a classroom of students, that assistant teacher that's in that classroom, that maybe you're coming in and doing an extra thing for them. We do a lot. We did a lot in my school. I had a Microsoft showcase school, but the teacher that was in the classroom, they had to be on top of it and they had to be good managers too, because I couldn't do it all when it was a huge classroom.
Yeah, so you
I needed
think
their support.
do you think for the online format, if it does continue, throughout the next school year, we should have it to be smaller classrooms so it can be more personalized, perhaps, and maybe keep all the kids in focus, learning right here, right now. Keep it on.
Yes,
You
yes.
really think it would
And
be helpful?
I think the smaller classes always are better no matter where you're at. Public education, you're in a classroom or you're online. You just can't get too many students. Otherwise, you really, really have to be almost like a presenter. You're up
Yeah.
there, you're in front of a podium, you're speaking, you're doing all this stuff so that you're like this feature speaker in front of a auditorium. And it takes a special skill. I still think the classroom teaching can make it too. I do. I think that those that need the focus, they need a classroom that's a little smaller.
Okay. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So I'm going to move on to my next question here.
Okay.
Is, I guess, was there anything interesting that you learned, like, about teaching when you're going through this pandemic? Maybe in the online format you mentioned that you had, a lot of experience doing it, but was there anything new that came across to you or you've learned or you found just interesting?
I wouldn't say it's about the teaching part or I mean, I just went with the flow. I was used to being online for universities. It was more of being in tune with the students and what they're going through. I had students, this was in the USA that I was tutoring, and I used to tutor them at a library, but they couldn't meet there anymore. And what I found is a couple of them, I really, really had to work with them and make that where they didn't want to miss because they were tired. They were tired of being home. They were tired of being enclosed in a house and not being able to get out and be with their friends. And so to have something online to go to again, and if it was a drudgery type class, they were just done. They were so done from being at home that if I could somehow make it so, oh yeah, we can't miss next week. Mrs. Danner is going to do this and this and this. We better not miss because it's really going to be fun. We did it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So you think the human connection part is probably the most important, factor in online learning. So you have to keep the attention. So you just have to
yeah,
be in tune with how everybody is feeling because, everybody's going
you
through it
do.
together, right?
You do.
So you really just gotta
And
keep it in.
I don't care. I totally, totally believe this statement. It doesn't matter if it's online or in the classroom. It doesn't matter if I'm teaching elementary, if I'm teaching middle school, high school, college. I've done all those gamuts in those areas. What it comes down to is three words: relationship, relationship, relationship. If
Yeah.
that, if, and I mean honest relationship, honest where they know I absolutely care about their progress, success, and their learning. And when they know that, let me tell you, they'll walk a mile for you.
Were there any benefits to taking an online class versus an in-person class? Would you weigh something higher than something else if you were going to take in-person versus online?
I've done both. I've done I have two master's degree. I've done one on campus, one online. So two different master degrees in my life. And one was online, one was on campus. And what it comes down to is at that time, what I needed. What I needed when I did online, I needed convenience. I needed to be able to be here, and I had a small family, and I needed to be online so I could put them to bed and work online and get my work done. And I loved online for then. Later on, when I went back and get another master's, my kids are older then by then, and they can manage themselves. I've got father home from the kind of job he was doing, and I was able to go to the campus and have that, and it was what I needed for that degree. I wanted to be on campus for that degree.
Yeah. So, do you think there's a difference between normal Zoom classes and Hattie classes that we teach here? Like, how do we do it differently?
So the way I feel it comes back to also it's more quaint, it's more the curriculum I've put hundreds and hundreds of research hours in it, of course years and years of experience, and mesh that together to build something. And so I have ownership on what I'm teaching.
Yeah.
And so I think that makes a difference because I have ownership. I feel that it's really important things I'm teaching for your lessons in Hattie. And then also it comes back to that relationship. I think that they, every now and you'll get someone that'll be like, they didn't really want to take the class anyway. And they'll be like, nah. But most of the students that I've tutored online, they go, when are you going to teach another one? Are you going to teach another course? They want to follow
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. So I think we teach it more personally, and I think every teacher gets their own way to teach it. It's like they have their own personal curriculum that works for them, and I think all the students, they all come around to the certain curriculum, and it works really well.
It does work very well.
I guess for a good follow-up do you have any tips for people about to take a Hattie class?
Well, you're talking from someone that is so passionate about Hattie now. And the reason is I feel the difference already. I feel like the students there, when they get on, they're a little leery. They seem like the first class is always like, oh no, what am I going to have to drill on? How much homework am I going to have? They seem panicked. And then when they start to see, oh, wow, it's real life learning. She's telling us about stuff that's going to be useful, and she's having us practice real stuff. She's not giving me busy work. She's giving me things that are vital and things she's found that she even says she likes to use because it's good for our school
Yeah.
academics and our life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's actual life skills. What were the impacts of COVID-19 on all your students? And I think it had an impact on everyone's, behavior. Everyone's a little downtrodden right now. And it's just, how do you think you came around to maybe fixing that concept, or just, how'd you work around?
Well, I'm a pretty upbeat person, so I
I
kept thinking,
see.
"Oh, it's fine. We'll be fine during COVID." And then I got on the scales, and I was like, "Ooh, I think I ate a little too much at home and didn't go to
Oh,
the
yeah.
gym."
I feel you
So
there. I feel you there.
so then I was like, you know what? I'm an adult. And if it's affected me, I know that it's affected those children, those students. And so I think you have to keep that in mind. You have to keep their perspective of how they're feeling coming to you during
Yeah.
that different time of their life.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have felt maybe they're missing out on the real experience of the school. It's like you see the kids taking strictly online Zoom colleges right now, and you feel bad for them almost because you want the experience, right? Do you see the world getting farther apart or closer during COVID-19? Do you think we're all becoming more interconnected, or do you think we're all kind of just drifting apart?
Well, I can only personally say how we felt. I'll start crying.
Oh,
I feel that we're connected. I feel
yeah.
that after being inside and not being able to go out and be among people, my family, they even would go, they said at our age, they were doing the shopping and they would come by and knock on the door and they'd leave our grocery order. I just Venmo the money. They didn't even want us to go to the store. So we didn't have our family for a while. Then finally we were able to have our family around. And then just yesterday, we had an experience. We took our grandchildren. We have 8 grandchildren, and we
Oh,
took
wow.
them to the zoo.
Oh,
And they had not been out in public for a long time. And I was like, oh, how's it going to be out there? Do you know the people that talked to me that were strangers? I mean, they were like, oh, people they were just craving human connection.
I
And
understand what you mean completely. You know, I,
I I think it's made us appreciate life. It's made us appreciate
yeah,
human connection.
you don't know what you
Uh,
have until it's gone, huh?
Oh yeah, I think it's brought us closer as a human race.
I completely agree with you. It's just a tangent story. I went skiing, and you'd sit on the
Mm,
chairlift, and you'd sit with, two other people, and they just
mhm.
talk to you the whole time. It's like they're ready. They're good to go, right? It's just
Oh
everyone craves it, like you said. I completely agree.
yeah, that's
Completely,
right.
completely
You
agree.
know, that's the thing I keep telling people is dogs are really cute, so are cats, but they don't have the human quality we
Yeah.
do. And that means we need to interact. Mhm.
Yeah, humans crave sociability. So, as a teacher going through all of this, say you were in charge of the whole curriculum. It's like you had the decision of Zoom. What would you do differently than what you've seen in public schools, private schools? What would you have done differently, if anything, I should say?
Mm. You know, it's hard for me to really say that because I've got such a plethora background of working online that when I worked at the university and they needed me to develop and say we can't come to campus, it's online, it just flew together. It just welded together because I knew I needed both that connection, interaction, and I knew I had to develop curriculum and have something that where they were part of this class. They were interacting and talking with each other and share with group one what you're talking about. And I just made sure we tried to still have realistic things going on. You know, I'll tell you one thing that when I first started teaching on Hattie, I know in some online or you're supposed to mute your mic unless you're called on. I don't like it. I tell them all the time, open up your mic. And they look at me and I say, look, I'm trying to be real when I teach. And I'm telling you now, in your real life, when you have a meeting, say at the library or the conference room, you're not going to sit there with a fake mic on and go, I can't talk yet. I need to make sure I turn my mic back on and say, oh, I
Right.
have something to say. I've critically thought about something I want to say. And so I believe that it can be interaction,
Yeah,
yes, you still have the management rules, and I
of
start
course.
that out right away and say how we're going to handle talking with each other. But I think you have to mesh that whole entire being of being a learner, a lifelong learner.
Of course. Yeah. I think we could definitely have used some, the more group aspect, like you said. We needed the more interaction. This is no offense to any of my teachers, but like
Mhm.
if you're gonna sit there for an hour and 20 minutes and just list off facts on me, you know, I can't really do that very well. But if you put it in
I
a
can't
group,
do it. I can't do it.
yeah, it's like you put it in a
If I'm
group.
to, yeah.
You put it in a group, we all do a little bit of it, we come back at the end, we all present what we learned. You put it together in a much more interesting way, just in my
It
opinion.
is, you make it real.
How will you teach going forward now with the experience of COVID-19? How will you teach going forward?
Well, absolutely. I felt like I've had that beforehand because of my experience and my degrees and things, but even more now because if I have a student that signs up online and wants to take my courses, I absolutely you're going to remember, whoa, we've got a student here. We've got students here coming in from being at home and being online for a year and a half. They do not want to be like blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
It's like you said.
you don't want the status quo anymore.
Oh no. Mm-mm.
No more.
No, no. Thank
So,
you.
yeah, I think that's my list of questions. I mean,
Oh well. Great.
yeah, we got a